Hey, I want you to look at this. This is the last appearance of Carol O'Connor on television. And as a surprise, they brought out a special guest. I love reunions of my favorite old TV shows. It's so great to see these characters again years later, find out what these characters are up to, and also see the old actors again one more time. Gilligan's Island did a handful of reunion movies. First, they did Rescue from Gilligan's Island.
All your favorites are back in a brand new movie.
Here at sea. Maybe we can be rescued.
Which was split up over 2 nights, and the first night, they got rescued.
After 15 years on a tiny uncharted island somewhere in the Pacific, the 7 castaways have finally been rescued, and they're on their way back to civilization.
So people didn't watch the second night. So the first night, mega ratings, and then a bit of a letdown with the second half. The second half, though, they get stranded on that island again.
Any idea where we are?
Not really. That storm turned us round and round and blew us all over the map for 12 days.
I know where we are.
Now, how could you know that, Gilligan?
Look what I found.
The same island.
Well, why are you all so sad? I mean, we're home again, huh?
It was so popular, they did a follow-up movie called Castaways on Gilligan's Island. They get rescued again, and then the Howells buy the island and put a hotel there.
Oh, castaways, wait a minute. To commemorate the many years that we have lived here, I have decided to design tropical Shangri-La. And for this purpose, money is no object.
First, you said money is no object.
Good heavens, I did?
Yes.
I may swoon.
And then they followed that up with the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island, which is kind of the pinnacle of television. But that's not all they did. They did some reunions where just the actors got together in front of a camera and we got to see them again. Tina Louise had avoided doing the movies, but she did the in-person reunion. This is from November of 1982, Good Morning America with Kathy Lee Gifford.
With us this morning, everyone who was marooned on Gilligan's Island, the entire cast. Here in New York, Bob Denver, Alan Hale, Tina Louise, Russell Johnson, Don Wells, and Natalie Schaefer.
Jim Backus was not there in person, but he appeared via satellite. And I mean, he makes outlandish, crazy comments right off the bat.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
How are you? It's the first time I've ever seen the cast with their clothes on.
Then he roasts Alan for his suit.
You look good. I love every... Oh, come on, Alan. You're kidding with that suit.
It looked like it was such a fun show to do, was it?
Kathy, in that sense, it really is true. You know, that's one of the big ingredients that was making the show so successful all through the years, the fact that people do need nonsense.
Doing Gilligan was like doing all the physical jokes I always wanted to do.
I mean, the key ingredient to me is the fact that nobody really ever got hurt.
We were the first of a pretty picture. Most of the situation comedies in that day and age were living room comedies almost.
Mm-hmm. I was in New York, and when they sent me the script, I thought, like, this'll never go.
Why was that?
Well, it was so unlike anything I'd ever read, or anything I'd ever been in, or anything I'd ever seen.
A few years later, they appeared on the Fox Late Night Show. This was 1988. It was Late Night with Ross Schaefer.
Welcome back to the Late Show, everybody. This is our Gilligan's Island reunion.
I found out that Gregory Peck was a big fan of it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he came up to me one time. I'd never met him before. And he says, "You thirsty now?" And I said, "Yes." And he's my favorite show. Wouldn't miss it.
Really?
This was fun because creator of Gilligan's Island and the Brady Bunch, Sherwood Schwartz, was brought out as well.
Everybody out here.
Well, they all love you. Well, they're sensible people. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of this cast, though?
Well, of course.
In 1985, some of the cast got together.
And here is what they look like today. All the castaways gathered to dedicate a special waiting room at Children's Orthopedic Hospital in Los Angeles. The room was donated by the creator of the popular series, and it will carry the Gilligan theme.
I know of a similar story. In 1992, out in West Virginia, Bob Denver took part in a special cruise for these Make-A-Wish kids. They had 500 people on a boat. It was children, their parents, their brothers, sisters. So a lot of families on West Virginia Belle. And it sailed along the Kanawha River until it got to a small island. And there was Bob Denver dressed up in his Gilligan attire. And he said, "Finally, you guys rescued me." And he got on the boat with them. The kids all cheered because they had rescued Gilligan. February 16th, 1991, CBS airs a 90-minute retrospective to celebrate the 20th anniversary of All in the Family. This was hosted by co-creator Norman Lear, and it featured clips from the show.
Good evening. I'm Norman Lear. We're in the All in the Family set, and this is Archie's chair.
It also featured interviews with the 4 main cast members. This special was so well received that CBS started re-airing reruns of All in the Family in primetime for the summer schedule. These All in the Family reruns were aired right next to Norman Lear's current show, which was called Sunday Dinner. And All in the Family pulled in higher ratings. Because of this, Carroll O'Connor really wanted to do a reunion series, and Norman Lear talked him out of it. This happened a lot. You would have different shows where certain performers had grown past that role, whereas other ones wanted to get back to it. But this appearance on the Donnie and Marie Show was Carroll O'Connor's last televised appearance.
I'm inclined to be short-tempered.
What would your TV wife say about you?
I must tell you that Jean loves me.
Yeah?
A little surprise. Look right there.
This aired on April 24th in the year 2000. Carroll O'Connor passed away the next summer.
Tell everyone what you just told us about how many times you appear together like this.
On a talk show.
On a talk show.
We can't remember one.
This is the first.
There are some weird moments in this. Donnie tries to get her to do the Edith voice, and she doesn't want to. And then he offers her money to do it, which just comes off as crass and obnoxious.
Would you do their voices?
No.
Oh, you don't?
No. Well, in the first place, I only do it for pay.
I got $20.
No, he's got
$20.
It's got to be a lot more than
He's
that.
got a visa.
Now, I mentioned they had never done a talk show together, but they had done the Emmys. This was 1996, and you'll notice that Carroll O'Connor does a little bit of Archie for the camera.
In one of the episodes of All in the Family, Edith announced that behind every great man is a great woman. But Archie disagreed loudly.
Archie always disagreed, but being a television fanatic, even he would agree that behind every great comedy, there's a great supporting actor.
On January 24th of last year, they had the 75th annual Primetime Emmys. And as part of it, they had a reunion of Mike and Gloria on a replica of the All in the Family set.
You know, Sally and I were part of a unique television family.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Norman Lear had just passed away when this happened, so as a tribute, they show his hat hanging on the wall. Speaking of Norman Lear shows, May of this year, you had the 50th anniversary of Good Time.
We were able to get away with it nowadays because of political correctness. But Norman was that kind of guy who wanted to do all the topics, whatever was happening, he did everything, and they all resonate now.
In 1984, there was a show called Our Magazine, and it was hosted by Gary Collins, and for an entire week, they did reunion episodes. We got to see an episode with Alan Young and Connie Hines from Mr. Ed.
Thank you for being a part of this reunion series. We've had such a great response for it.
It's an honor.
I should
Thank
say.
you.
I mean, it's just nostalgia, and it makes, I don't know, it makes you feel warm when you see things that were a part of your growing up period.
Alan revealed that the show had an unsold pilot, so he was actually the second actor cast in that role.
There was a pilot made before ours, wasn't there? And it didn't sell. George Burns had it then.
The George Burns?
George Burns, yes. And he said to Arthur Lubin, the director, you better go ask Alan Young. He looks like the kind of a fellow a horse would talk to.
Later in the week, they did a reunion of the Superman TV show.
Please welcome the actors who played Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, Noel Neal and Jack Larson.
Here's Noel Neal talking about being the first ever female reporter on television.
During the process of meeting nice little ladies working in television stations and newspapers, they said, gee, when I was little and watched you, it encouraged me.
Also, they did a reunion of the Mission Impossible cast.
Please welcome Martin Landau, Greg Morris, and Peter Lucas.
Is it true that Lucille Ball discovered Mission, or really was the one that
it was because of Lucy.
She wanted to get a couple of shows on, so she got Mission on the same year as she got Star Trek on.
Hey, if you're enjoying these videos, please consider signing up on Patreon. You can sign up for free, and then if you want, change your membership to $3 a month, and I'll send you a postcard in the mail every single month. You can join the club, just like my big brother Rob Hutchinson, Michael and Jessica, Chris, and Matthew David Chapin, and all these other wonderful people. You become one of them. In a moment, a couple boxes are going to pop up. We talked about Mr. Ed. I'm going to put a Mr. Ed video on this side. I did a video about the history of Mr. Ed, who started out as a short story in a men's magazine. Mr. Ed drank beer. He swore. Wilbur's wife cheated on him. This was a crazy story that they then fine-tuned and made for television. The reason they bought the rights to it is also interesting. You can find out all of that right there. Otherwise, that's the one that YouTube says is best for you. And please go check out the second channel. I'll see you next time.